I'm Coach Slick, and this is the Postgame Show. Bucs fans, this is the post-game show, and of course, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers have fallen to the Denver Broncos at home, 26-7. Not the best game. It was pure ass rapage, and it wasn't of the worst kind you could possibly get. Tampa Bay Buccaneers looked like they were outplayed in every facet of the game. Sean Payton seems to have a lock on this team, always has, and he knows this team well. There are members of this community have said this was a trap game. Others of us have thought that we probably should be looking at trying to ramp up some pointage. It is frustrating for us to be this bad against a team that was advertised as not as good. But every team in the NFL can score, and every enemy has a vote too. Just this time, maybe the Buccaneers were possibly drinking their own Kool-Aid, and so were we as fans. This kind of loss makes it hit home again. We aren't perfect, but we can persevere. We've got to get hype. We've got to get right quick. And I do believe the next game's not that far away. So we got to get this right, get ourselves back on track. And I'll tell you one thing a loss will always do. A loss will make you realize that you aren't unbeatable. And that's one of the things that'll galvanize this team. Sometimes getting your nose blooded in the playground makes you stand up a bit harder and fight a little bit harder next time. But this Buccaneer team was flat out outplayed in every facet of the game. The biggest takeaway for me is their defensive line. Yet again, we are giving up sacks at an alarming rate. And I don't know if Luke Gerke is going to be the answer that fixes that problem. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what that really looks like when he's back. The Buccaneers starters being out on defense with Vita Vea, Antoine Winfield Jr., you could see now it's starting to take a toll. We were a porous defense, and we looked, to be quite frank, not very good. We looked gash, to say in English. We look gash. And the issue is that it shouldn't have been this decisive. Now, you have to understand the Buccaneers went on fourth downs to try and keep this game going. So there were points on the table that the Buccaneers turned down, but that really would have only turned this game into a 13-26 game. So let's be real here. It would have just been a Band-Aid. It just looks worse on paper when you see that 7 and not double digits. It's frustrating. Defense did a better job in the second half, only allowing them 6 points to score. But the damage was already done, and the Buccaneers offense could not overcome. And it's difficult to overcome when your quarterback is being constantly harassed. 7 sacks. Think of how many hurries he had. It was just pure disappointment for me of this Buccaneer football team of where we were. But let's look at it from a different perspective. Let's look at it from a different perspective. A lot of us probably, I've had the Buccaneers being 3-0 at the beginning of this season, at this point. But at the same time, you have to understand that the Buccaneers are 2-1 when a lot of people already had us at 2-1. So nothing really changes. It just means we lost to worse opposition, right? But we beat someone good, and this is the thing of football. You're going to beat teams that you probably you think you will struggle. You don't think you might win, and you're going to lose some game. You're going to lose some games against teams that, let's be honest, might not necessarily think that you've got the win there. So we were all probably drinking the Buccaneer Kool-Aid a little bit too hard, and we were brought down to earth. That's fine. The Buccaneers now have to resolve themselves and get themselves back into a position where they can score points and defend the lead. So let's have a little look. The stats on the day aren't that terrible when you look at it. It's just the play. Time of possession, Denver Broncos 31-12, Buccaneers 27-6. It's not great, but it's not bad. First downs, 18-17. Total yards, 352 to the Buccaneers, 226. They beat them there. Passing yards, they did much better in the past. Rushing yards, the Buccaneers just got under, got themselves 90, 91, and the Denver Broncos got themselves 36. Penalties 5 for 5. The penalties in key situations is what thrust this Denver Broncos team into our midst, and the stupid plays. So for what I would say that made us lose this game, poor tackling. There were times that we had guys dead to rights and we're slipping off tackles. That needs to get cleaned up, and it needs to get cleaned up quick. Right? This team has always been a sure tackling team. But now we've got to start thinking. We've got to up that. So if it's me, we're doing some tackle drills. We're doing some tackle drills and we're getting clean, good hits. Getting the tackle areas, we're securing tackles. That can't happen. There's too many times where people got out leveraged and people got people were arm tackling. Nope. That's got to get fixed. Got to get fixed. Let's have a look at some of the other stuff. So total plays, they ran 64. We ran 56. Yards per play, 5.5. We're 4. Total turnovers. Well, the turnover differential is what killed us in the end. You can't go around giving up stuff like that. I don't mind the K. Dotton one. He had the ball. He was trying to tuck it. It just got popped out. That is just football. He wasn't carrying it like a loaf of bread. He was trying to secure the ball, bringing it to his body, to his core. Look, it happens. It's football. But we can't be consistent with this, and we can't let our quarterback get abused in that way. We just can't. We have to do better. So let's have a look at the scoring summary of what happened with this game. Start quarter one. Bo Nix scrambles in the tight end for 3 yards, gets himself a touchdown. The Broncos go up 7-0 with the Willet's extra point. Jay McLaughlin rushed for 1 yard for the touchdown. 14-0. Extra point was good. Willet's field goal, 17-0. Baker Mayfield short patch catch made by Chris Godwin for 5 yards. Touchdown. McLaughlin per point is good. Chase McLaughlin point good. Willet's field goal. Willet's field goal. Willet's field goal. The Buccaneers could never really get on track. And the problem is, when you can't pass the ball because your quarterback doesn't have time to pass the ball, you have to play the short passes. You can't live off short passes. It's not going to happen. You can't live in a world of just short passing all day long. Otherwise, everyone would do it and everyone would be successful. It doesn't happen. You play the short passes. No, you have your safeties come down a little bit. You play man coverage with 2 safeties over top. Inside leverage on everyone. The Buccaneers defense was porous, and we could not, our depth did not rise to the occasion this time. Buccaneers now need to lick their wounds, get themselves right, get themselves hyped, and get ready for another game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, that's going to be a tougher game. But this Buccaneers team has already shown us that they are capable of rising when needed. The issue is we tend to fall down to teams' level when we're playing against what we would consider a weaker opponent. This is the NFL, and the enemy gets about 2. I had this game as the Buccaneers should be looking at donuts. Genuinely. If I was a defensive coordinator, I'm saying, guys, this is an opportunity where you want to pitch out a team and close them out. This is the one. If I was an offensive coordinator, I'd be like, this is the one. You want to get your stats up? This is the one. Their defense played admirably. Their defensive line was the reason they won this game from a defensive standpoint. Their offense clicked when it needed to. Bo Nix game managed incredibly well and made some good clutch throws here and there. But ultimately, I pin the blame on the offense. The inability to score points was part of the reason we lost. Now, the defense giving up 26 isn't great, but they were mostly field goals. After the 2 touchdowns, it was field goals. That's allowing your team to get in position, but the scoreboard was trickling away. They kept the scoreboard honest, and they kept matriculating the ball down the field. They kept scoring points. They kept the scoreboard ticking. But this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team needs to make sure that when we're in a position like that we go out and score. And we didn't. We didn't execute in the way that we wanted to. We're going to have to look at this offensive line and see how we can get things right. Personally, I felt the Buccaneers had a touchdown scrubbed off the line when we were deep into their half, and they called it a false start on Barton. That shit. When the commentators agree with you, I'm not one to always go after refs, but I could not see it. I don't think you're allowed to challenge at that point. If you are, then I'd wonder why we didn't. But and that could have very well changed, potentially moved the game around a little bit and had the Buccaneers flying a little bit higher. But I don't think it would have won the game. I think the game was done, and the Buccaneers, you could see in the last few offensive possessions, they started to fall off tackles a little bit more, and the want wasn't there as much. On the one big run, then they battened down the hatches, kept them to a field goal. Look, I'm not happy with this loss. I'm not. But it's a part of football. And it's something that we've got to get right as a football team, is we got to make sure that our offense is clicking, and we've got to make sure that our defense is galvanized and ready to go. We can't be falling off tackles, and we can't allow our quarterback to get sacked so many times. That much pressure in his face means he's going to throw the ball awry a lot. He's going to throw the ball when he doesn't need to throw the ball. He's going to throw the ball into places where he shouldn't throw the ball. He's going to run. He's going to rush through his pass progressions, and he's going to make mistakes, and he's going to get picked off. And then we as Buc fans are going to get annoyed with him because he's throwing picks. But in reality, he is throwing picks. But if the offensive line can just hold up, and he's not getting sacked. We had the same issue, guys, when Tom Brady had that final year, and the offensive line couldn't do anything. They couldn't run the ball, and they couldn't pass the ball because they didn't have enough time. You can do all the quick outs and the quick slant routes all you want. You can't live off those. Eventually, one of them will get robbed and picked. It's just what happens in football. You can't live off those. Could they have put the rollout game in? Yeah, I think they probably could have put a bit more rollout in. I would like to see a little bit more rollout. The run D wasn't the rushing attack wasn't poor off the top of my head. I mean, I don't actually have the game stats for the individual players in front of me. I will endeavor to find them though. But your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, let's face it, our Tampa Bay Buccaneers shit the bed today. And I'm sure there's some egos that are a little bruised. I'm sure there's some angry players out there, and I'm hoping that it resolves into getting shit right. So come play in the Philadelphia Eagles, we whoop that ass. And then we go on to the next week. That's what the Buccaneers need to be doing, in my opinion. That's where they should be right now. So let's see what else we can find out about this game for us. I'll go into this. Player stats. Here we go. Baker Mayfield was a bit woeful for his 33 attempts for 25 completions, which isn't the worst in the world considering how harassed he was. He had to rely on his Houdini skill set. Can't live off that either, guys. We can't live off a scramble drill quarterback all year long. It's not going to work. He's going to get beat up. Bucky Irving got himself 10 carries for 70 yards. Bucky Irving was effective. 7.8 yards a carry. We needed to lean on that, and I would not be surprised if in a couple of more weeks, and I'm not even surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if people are already calling for it now, Bucky Irving will probably be the Buccaneers starter going forward. Not yet, but it could happen soon. Because Rachaad White was 6 for 17 at 2.8. So the rushing attack was there. The problem was we got down big too quick. We're down big too quick before we tied our own damn shoes. Chris Godwin, 5 receptions, 53 yards, 8.8 average with a touchdown. K. Dotton, 7 for 47. Rachaad White, 5 for 18. Woeful. Mike Evans, 2 for 17. Wanted to see more of him. Bucky Irving, 3 for 15. So Bucky Irving getting himself about 85 yards on the day, and that's all we wrote. There just wasn't enough juice in this Buccaneer team to get it going. Jamal Dean leads the team in tackles, 9 tackles, 4 assists. Christian Izien is then 6 for 2. KJ Britt, 5 for 2. Levante David, 3 for 5. Zion McCullum, 3 for 3. Tyke Smith, 3 for 3. Jordan Whitehead, 3 for 3. Savassier Dennis, 3 for 1. Yaya Diaby, 1 for 1. CJ Brewer, 1 for 0. And Greg Gaines for 2 assists. Braswell for an assist. Logan Hall for assist. Shayinka for an assist. Other than that, the Buccaneers got no sacks. We've got to do better. No INTs. We've got to do better as a football team. It was a trap. I mean, I don't believe in trap games. I believe in the fact that you can get stuck drinking, and you can call that a trap if you want. You get stuck drinking your own Kool-Aid and believe in your own hype. That maybe you underestimated your opponent. That's potentially possible. Or they were just that good on the day, because that can happen too. But this was some adversity that I'd like to have seen the Buccaneers fight and win, because that would show more resolve in this team. Now they've got to fight through the adversity of losing a game and getting back out there and winning one. But guys, let's all digest this. We'll be talking a little bit more about this on the aftermath, which I'm not sure when that's scheduled for. It should be on Wednesdays. It might be a bit sooner. You never know, but we'll keep you posted, and we'll get a bit more detail in this as more breaks out, injury reports and what have you. All I can say is I can't wait to see Antoine Winfield back in Buccaneers colours, and I can't wait to see Vita Vea back in Buccaneers colours. So, and Luke Geteke, because I need to see what that really looks like, because that's that team building that strength back up. But the positive note is Bucky Irving looks legit. Chris Godwin is looking good for the year. Baker Mayfield can still ad-lib. And this defense, even though it's beat up, it can ball. We just need more consistency. But on that note, guys, and I know this is a short one, but commiserations. Enjoy your nights as best you can. But hey, Bucs fans, there will be resolve. This is the start of the season. Hopefully the Saints lose their game. I don't know what the score is right now. I've been getting things flash up all over, so not sure if the Saints have walked away with their victory, so a victory or not. I'm hoping they lose. I'm hoping the Falcons get ass raped somewhere as well. I don't really care about the kitty cats. I couldn't give a fuck. But Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to get themselves right. They got to get themselves right, hype and right, so we can go and win this game against the Birds. Fuck the Eagles, and fuck the Eagles. Buccaneers fans, Bucs on me, Bucs on 3. 1, 2, 3, go Bucs!